Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gargoyles episode reviews. Today we're looking at The Price. Macbeth is back, and he's on the hunt for trophies, specifically gargoyles. When his magic keeps Hudson from awakening from his stone slumber at sunset, the clan is left to find a solution. But it's all a distraction for the real action. Xanatos has kidnapped Hudson. David wants Hudson's skin. Why? It's an ingredient in a magical brew that, according to legend, will make whoever bathes in it live as long as the mountain stones. After all, what good are all the riches in the world, which Xanatos essentially has, if you die? Fair warning, everybody, I am going all in on the antagonist position. Like 100%, 100x leverage, I am all in here. So if that's going to be a problem for you, yeah, well, I can't help you. But, I will not be siding with the protags really at all in this one. Spoilers on the 2020 moments, info from Ask Greg's and the According to Greg bits. Season 2, Episode 20, The Price. And I swear, this episode, I like it a lot, but it's as if not the orb of stupidity, but the orb of poor judgment was hanging over New York at this time. This is the episode wherein Xanatos acts like a huge jerk. Owen abandons all common sense. Hudson tries to argue that death and old age are just fine. And Goliath believes that Demona will be helpful. I don't know. It's kind of a weird episode. I think some of the characters act out of character. But at the same time, it is also very good because of the discussion or argument, whatever you want to call it, between Xanatos and Hudson. Also, at the time of recording, which is 9/8/2021, Ed Asner, who was the voice actor for Hudson, recently passed away. So this is a good episode to touch on since he had such a wonderful performance in it. So, moving on. Reasons for existence. To emphasize Xanatos' desire for immortality, to explore what true immortality is, to show how gargoyles mourn their dead, to show Hudson's legacy, to highlight the loyalties of characters, to show a bit of Xanatos and Owen's off-camera working relationship, to introduce the Cauldron of Life, to prove Owen's loyalty. Main antagonists: Xanatos, Owen, Macbeth. Sort of. You'll see. Times: December 22nd and 23rd, 1995. Well, Merry Christmas. Locations: New York City, New York. The Price, and we open on the view of the bay with the Statue of Liberty there and the WTC. Gargoyles made me really want to visit the Twin Towers. I never had the opportunity. Trophies. Previously on Gargoyles. In Long Way Till Morning, Hudson doubts himself because he is old. He proves himself against Demona, though. According to Greg. Right, so according to Greg's ramble on Station 8, and there's a link in the blog, this episode's concept came from a story in Disney Adventures magazine called Stone Cold and written by Lee Nordling. I'd like to get a hold of some of those Disney Adventure magazine stories. Greg gave the idea of replacing a gargoyle with a stone statue to Michael Reeves. He ran with it. Michael Reeves is such a phenomenal writer. If you want to see the full scripts, check them out. We got the first draft for The Price and the final draft. And I have not looked at those for a long time, so I really couldn't tell you what those are, but now's a good time to go look at them yourself. The clan is out on patrol this cold winter night. It's only 3 days before Christmas, but there aren't any lights up. I guess the foreign animators forgot, or they didn't know the date in the episode. Out of nowhere, Macbeth zooms up on a hovercraft, Segway, sky sled thingy, and starts shooting his electro weapon at the clan. I love that picture. It's beautiful. He's got that electro gun all charged up. Random encounter. Roll initiative. Goliath says he doesn't know how Macbeth escaped the Weird Sisters. He should already be beyond that question, since both Demona and Macbeth tangled with Elisa in high noon. Maybe he correctly assumed they were still in the sisters' thrall at that point. Here, there's a stiff wind going on there. If the clan can kind of hover like that, but since they can only glide, they're trying to face off with Macbeth. I would love to have that little hover thing. Trophies, Macbeth laughs, and he'll be saying that word a lot. Trophies? Since when has Macbeth cared about that? He's had plenty of chances to make them trophies. Macbeth is a man of honor, one who always has a reason for engaging the Gargoyles in combat. He's not a Marvel or DC villain who just wants to harass the heroes for the heck of it, or Xanatos, for that matter. During the fight, Hudson follows Macbeth. The Scotsman throws an envelope of glitter, or fairy dust, in Hudson's face. Between Macbeth's maneuvering and the herpes of the craft world, Hudson is grounded. Net missiles, electro-weapons, hover scooter, but his most fearsome weapon, an envelope full of glitter. And there it's kind of purple, and it manages to do a direct hit in Hudson's face, despite the fact that they are maneuvering at high speed in the air with wind and turbulence. I guess it's not fairy dust. Maybe if he just thought more happy thoughts? I don't know. Macbeth is about to finish Hudson off when Goliath throws a lightning rod at the airspeeder craft and sends it and Macbeth down to explode in the street. Alright, 2020 moment. We all know this is a robot that Xanatos sent out to keep the clan grounded until the sun came up, so that Hudson would turn to a statue, so that he could kidnap him and replace him with a real statue. So, my question is this robot programmed to really try and take the clan down? Because what if Goliath had not have intervened? He very well could have taken Hudson out. Now, that would have completely ruined Xanatos' plan. So, again, this is some of the issues I have with writers at times, is they don't stop to think about the plan that they stopped midway, right? So they came up with this plan that looked great, and it got all the characters where they needed to be and everything, and it worked only, though, because it was not allowed to come to completion. So if it had come to completion, it might not have even made sense. Like, it might not have made sense that the character would have even planned it. So we'll kind of talk more about that as we go along here. There's a couple more instances of that. Alright, so everyone is shocked at what happened. Normally, killing the opponent isn't their intent. They can't believe that Macbeth is dead. After all, the times that he's tangled with him, he's dead. Just like that. Wow, mortality check. Now, we the viewers know that he can't die unless Demona kills him. But that doesn't mean he can't just grow a body back from ash, right? Or does it? Greg W. says that it's pointless to ask if they can, say, survive getting their heads cut off, because they have not encountered and will not encounter that. What will happen is one will kill the other. They do have some recuperative abilities, though, or at least enough to get them back on their feet when only one dies. Remember when Kenmore killed Macbeth? And he shanked him real good. Both Demona and Macbeth revived pretty quick. But I digress. Goliath is unrepentant. He had to save Hudson. Morning comes and they sleep. At sunset, everyone wakes, except Hudson. Sorcery. Goliath is mystified until he sees the glitter on Hudson's face. Either he's been to a rave and is too tired to wake up, or it's magical glitter. Crap. Stone? At night? This is Magus' spell all over again. Tell me they don't have to raise this building above the clouds, too. And here's something I was just wondering about. Can the gargoyles sleep when they're in flesh form? Like, are they capable of going into that unconscious state? Or can they only sleep when they're stone? I'm assuming they can sleep. It would be, I guess, analogous to an animal that, like a bear, that sleeps at night or in the day, whenever they sleep, and then can also hibernate. So the stone would be like the hibernation. I don't know, just my thought. And now that's glitter and not frost. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell when it's that cold out. You know, I wish somebody would figure out a way to keep them stone scientifically. Then they'd go in search of a magical cure, only to find that science is just as twisted as magic. I guess we kind of already know that, though. Still, it would be neat to see it in that form. Side note, the animation in this episode is stunning. It is awakening quality. Goliath may not be on the police force, but he knows enough about detective work to go to Macbeth's mansion for a look around. The autocannons are up and running. Why do people insist on these things? And more importantly, why do they insist on giving them pretty much no AI? They just trash the building that they're supposed to protect, and invariably the heroes use the lasers to destroy the lasers. Well, ditto in this scene. Now, the fight is actually really quick. The Gargoyles have learned how to combat 2 or more automated laser firing systems. Back on the building, Broadway and Brooklyn are babysitting the stone Hudson. Broadway doesn't understand how Goliath and Lex will know what the counterspell is. Besides, none of them are sorcerers. This is basically Xanatos' reply to Owen when the security chief suggested they look in the Grimoire for a counterspell to the one that turned the city residents to stone back in City of Stone. And Greg was being really careful with this episode in case it aired out of order, which it did. He didn't directly mention Brooklyn was the leader. Remember, that was something that happened earlier, but if this episode was shown before Upgrade, then it wouldn't have made sense. So, that is a real mark of professionalism. Greg not only knows the craft of writing, but he also knows how reality goes with airing of TV shows, and he covered himself well there. The cage. The next scene opens on Hudson. He's in a dark room in a cage with yellow glowing bars. Not really what you want to wake up to. So all this fuss outside is a waste of time. The question is, who captured Hudson and why? It's an economy-sized cage, man. You can barely turn around in that. It's like those little crates that people cruelly keep their dogs in all day. And Hudson grabs the bars, but not a good idea. The animation, my goodness, wonderful. Also, ouch, are those laser bars? Like, I can see through them. Or is it just clear conductive material? Xanatos isn't going to just rig up metal bars to a car battery. You can be sure of that. Or a generator like Macbeth. We don't have to wait long to see who did this. 2 figures emerge from the darkness. It's about time you came back, Hudson growls. The 2 are, no surprise, Xanatos and Owen. David announces he wants Hudson's skin. Excuse me? First Macbeth wants trophies. Now Xanatos wants to, make lampshades? Or a gargoyle suit? It puts the lotion on or it gets the hose. Has everyone gone nuts tonight? Seriously, I will be asking that a lot. Howdy, boys. There's Xanatos and Owen, looking calm and confident. Xanatos pulls out a garage door opener and hits a button. No, it doesn't zap Hudson dead. It just slides out the tray under Hudson's cage like the bottom of a bird cage. David picks up a piece of stone skin. That was funny. He wants his skin. I love my trickster characters. He explains he needs Hudson's help with an experiment. A Steel Clan bot walks out and sets down a large crate. The bot tears the boards off to reveal a giant black cauldron. Oh, Disney. This, however, isn't the cauldron of life, and according to Xanatos, the legend says that he who bathes in it will live as long as the mountain stones. Hey, can you revive the dead in it, like for an undead army? I mean, that's a kind of immortality, right? And there's Xanatos inspecting the cauldron in front of Hudson. Hudson finds Xanatos' desire for immortality amusing. You want to be immortal? David, being a sane person, says, of course. What good are all the riches on earth if Fox and I can't enjoy them forever? Yeah, so let's look at this line. He wants immortality so he can enjoy what he's worked for. Makes sense. One of King Solomon's biggest laments in Ecclesiastes is that people work hard for wealth. Then they have to give it up to someone undeserving when they die. They may not even know who they give it up to. It may not go to whom they want it to. Also, he wants to bring Fox in on this. That's nice of him. And remember, she's pregnant, so this will guarantee their kid always has parents. When the time is right, I'm sure he'll share his immortality with his child, too. As for Owen, well, I don't know. Maybe he's on his own? 2020 moment / according to Greg. As Fox is 1/2 Fae, she will live a very, very long human life. We're talking like 500 plus years. Also, no need to include Owen, as he reverts to his starting age whenever he goes from Owen to Puck to Owen. Owen will live on and serve David as long as David lives. So, it's also behooves Puck to help Xanatos in this so that their little game can continue. If you don't know this, though, you know that Owen is Puck. Leaving him out of the immortality scheme comes across as cold. And like I said, a lot of what Xanatos does comes off as him being a giant jerk. And I can explain away most of it, but some of it's like, I don't even know what's going on there. Alright, so the things we talked about above, having wealth and wanting to enjoy it, and having a family and wanting to enjoy them, are great motives for wanting to be immortal. Pretty sure most people wouldn't turn down the chance to be immortal. These are also people who don't have billions in the bank. Shockingly, most people don't want to get old and die. Alright, now I wrote this a couple years ago. I've got some life experience since then. And I gotta say, I would not actually want to be immortal because the world is very boring and very dumb. And if it continues this way, it's probably just going to get worse. And also, I would just have to work. Like, I am not a billionaire. So I would just have to keep on working and trying to, stay healthy unless it was one that magically kept you, like, young and perfect no matter what you did. I remember Fox Mulder in X-Files saying that he would only want to become immortal if sweatpants, with the elastic waistband, came back into style. So, anyway, I don't think I'd really want to go down the immortality route at this point. But are these really his motives? The family, the wealth? Xanatos has never been one to make a big to-do about money. He's pointed out that he's very rich and has turned 20K into considerably, quote-unquote, more. About billions, Those aren't brags, though. They're facts. He doesn't bat an eye about spending astronomical sums on his pet projects, so, well, yes, his wealth is important to him. I think there's more to it. He's just not saying so. Alright, Jonathan Frakes and Ed Asner put on a phenomenal performance here. Really, really spectacular. It's one of the reasons why I like this episode, despite some of my little qualms about it. Hudson says he thought the Eye of Odin, remember back in Eye of the Beholder, would have taught Xanatos not to toy with magical items. Yeah, he's got a point there. But to be fair, Xanatos didn't know it was magic like that at the time. Also, Xanatos really doesn't mess around with magic. He's had some opportunities and he's flat out said no. He's not stupid. He knows magic is dangerous. This item, however, he thinks he's got a handle on. Yeah, so I'm thinking it's probably human magic. Possibly. I don't know. If it's iron, I would say, yeah, it's definitely human magic. Because it's not going to be fey magic with that. But he agrees that Hudson is right. Quote, perhaps I should test the brew first. Any volunteers? Unquote. And there's the gargoyle bot is dumping water into the cauldron. It's priceless. It is priceless that he's using a gargoyle robot that looks like Goliath as a servant while he prepares to dunk a real Garg in the magical bath. David is going to use Hudson as a test subject. Hey, let me stop you right there, mate. You're going to test a magical potion on a gargoyle. That species turns to stone by day, which means they have unique genetics. It's plausible that his magical brew isn't going to behave the same with them as it does with humans. I mean, heck, they don't behave the same as humans when it comes to the sunrise and the sunset. So I think that's a good indication that there's some other things that are way different from us and gargoyles. It'd be like saying, oh yeah, I'm going to test this medication or product on a reptile. Yeah, we don't do that because reptiles are not like humans. You want an animal that's as close to human as you can. Honestly, you don't want to test it on animals at all. That's horrible. Alright, so if you want to test this, have Severius round up some vagrants like he did for the animal mutation experiment and let them stick their little toe in. This is not rocket science. Now, a pinch of Garg skin, and we've got nice purple smoke coming up, and the boys are leaning over, watching the proceedings. That ain't chilly. Look at their expressions. This is why Owen loves working with Xanatos. Entertaining schemes. Now, I understand the desire to toy with the gargoyle. He's obviously gone through a lot of trouble to set this up, he being Xanatos, as he indicates by proudly displaying the sculptor's model for that statue, and commenting that it was difficult to find a replica for Hudson's sword. Half the time the sword is animated as being stone, so I don't know why this was an issue. But it would have been just as easy to pin the clan down, honestly, if we're talking about issues. Have them go to sleep on a building roof, then pick up some skinned ships when they leave for the night. After they wake up and scatter them all over and take off. But the easy way isn't for Xanatos, though. And I know, Greg said, oh, yeah, he likes the easy way. No, I don't know. I don't think he does. He likes the challenging, more fun way. It's rather odd that he chose Hudson, though. And I guess we'll find out more as we go along here. He and Hudson I don't think they've ever spoken directly to each other before that I can remember, or really to any of the clan. He pretty much confines himself to talking with Goliath, which I see how things progress with the clan and some of the schemes he's pulled, and I almost wonder if he doesn't really care if the rest of the clan bites the dust, so long as he's got Goliath. Seems to be his obsession. Everything, his armor and the robots all look like Goliath. Which, yeah, that's fine. Goliath is the alpha, obviously. Alright, moving on. Here's Owen showing the statue model there. Think about this. Xanatos brings the model in just to flaunt it for Hudson. It's like, look what I made. Owen is angrily superior to the gargoyle, treating him as little more than an animal in a cage. Xanatos says he'll release Hudson if the spell succeeds. If not, Hudson will have the honor of giving his life for science. Both the trickster boys are smiling now. David turns away, done with the banter, and tells Owen they can't get complacent. They need the gargoyles distracted. As Owen starts to follow his boss, Hudson tries a clumsy attempt at co-opting the majordomo. What's in this for you? Service is its own reward. I would have thought you knew that, Owen rejoins. Ouch. Seriously, though, trying to turn Owen's loyalty and conscience? Please. Owen gives his trademark soul-lacerating, pupilless glare at Hudson. 2020 moment. I will say this here. The whole episode changes in tone and meaning when you remember Owen is Puck. What does Puck get out of Xanatos being immortal? That lifetime of service, aka fun, just keeps going. As for this project, Puck gets the enjoyment of seeing the old spell work. Puck has to know what it does. I mean, he's been around for like ever, and I'm pretty sure he has a great knowledge of magical items. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stuck his hand in it as Owen. He's not going to take that chance. What if it was like some sort of insta-kill brew? Nope. If you don't know Owen's secret identity, Xanatos also comes across as a total jerk, by the way. But if you keep Puck in mind, you see something very different. More on that later. But even so, some of it's still kind of jerky. Down the hall, Xanatos calls for Owen. I want the gargoyles distracted. Understood, sir. The usual deadpan from Owen, because this is all just another day in the life. They have to let the soup boil for a night and a day, so Hudson will be hanging out with them for a little while. Wonder if they gave him a TV. Halftime. Did you think Hudson was really turned to stone? I did. Hey, I was also 10. Even so, the writers did a fine job of making us believe. I also thought it was the real Macbeth. So I pretty much bought in, but again, I was 10. My question is, why Macbeth? Is it the gargoyles don't know much about him and he worked for Xanatos previously? And what's in this for Macbeth? Xanatos doesn't aim to kill the gargoyles usually, so I doubt he'd be happy with Macbeth cutting off their butts and nailing them to the mantle. Here we've got Mr. Krabs with you remember that episode when SpongeBob and Patrick were supposed to paint his house? And he said if he got a drop on paint on anything else, he'd cut their butts off? Yeah, that's the little clip that I linked there. Now, I'd be overjoyed if my beloved House Xanatos achieved immortality, but that's not going to happen. I know, because that would mean rewarding the antagonist. Never mind that Macbeth and Demona are immortal. So, the only way House Xanatos will live forever is in my imaginary fanfics. Yeah, I don't write fanfic of gargoyles because I don't feel that I'm capable of doing Xanatos justice. It's rather fun to watch the clan scramble around and bark up the wrong trees in the wrong park. Goliath had Xanatos going down the wrong path last episode, remember? Well, what do you think will happen to Hudson? Will Macbeth defeat the clan again? And what about the cauldron? Will it give Xanatos immortality? Tune in next time and see. Remember, you can comment here or on the blog. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.